Hello, everyone. I'm David Riggleman, Communications Director for the City of Las Vegas. Thanks for joining us for Access City Council. On this show, we'll be talking about Ward 3, and the councilman who represents this ward, Councilman Bob Coffin, joins me now. Welcome back.
Thank you, David. Good to be here.
Happy spring.
I feel summery, actually.
You do. You look good. You look like you're ready to play some golf.
80 degrees, it'll be 90 tomorrow. You know, that kind of thing.
Exactly. That's kind of the weather we've had. Right. You know, you look like you're ready for golf, and people who don't know this little trivia fact, you are an avid golfer and have been for your whole life.
It really saved my life, I think, when you think about starting at age 13, got me off the streets. It got me into a park called the Municipal Golf Course, and I didn't know that I had talent, and it turned out that I did have some talent.
Now,
enough
you were
to
the
play
state,
good.
Yeah, you were the state amateur champion at one point, right?
Well, that's almost 50 years ago. Yeah.
Well, you still were.
I think in terms of decades and centuries now, but true, I did have some talent then. Since I'm an old man on a fixed income now. I can hardly play.
Well, I don't play for this guy for money. I can tell you that, folks. Look out, he'll take it all from you. So, Councilman, you know Ward 3 very well, like the back of your hand. But for our viewers out there, we'll give them a little preview of where it is if they're not familiar. It's basically the east side of our city.
It truly is, except for some acreage which belongs to Ward 5. Councilman Barlow, it really is the whole east side, the old part of the founding part of the town, if you will.
Yeah.
All the way to Nellis Boulevard, which used to be way beyond where you could drive when I was a kid. And but you can say that it's all Ward 3.
Yeah.
And we have east side pride is what we like to instill in our people.
That's what you always say. That's right.
We're trying to rebuild.
Well, east side, west side, north, south, one of the big topics of discussion over the last few weeks has been the Project Neon kicking off. This is a big deal. It's going to enhance the Spaghetti Bowl someday, but in the meantime, we're going to be dealing with some construction.
As long as there are automobiles, there will be spaghetti bowls, and I'm sure every town has one or two.
Or 5.
Ours, our notorious one, will be improved considerably. And I realize that in 20 years, people will wonder why we didn't build it bigger.
Yeah, true.
But hopefully, in that intervening time, mass transit will have really reached its maturity and its acceptance so we can't make them any wider, these freeways. We're either going to have to build 2-level freeways or we're going to have to put rail right down the center of them. We're going to have to move people in a more efficient way than we do with the car. But people love their car. It's their office. It's my office when I'm not in the office. So, you know, there's never really a wasted moment in your car if you do it right. But let's face it, who wants to spend all day burning gas?
Right, true. Well, on April 7th, the big kickoff for Project Neon took place. It took place over on Symphony Park. Now, there's not going to be a lot of construction for Project Neon on the park specifically, but that was a place big enough to have the kickoff. So a lot of dignitaries. The governor was out there. We had Wayne Newton out there. The mayor was on hand.
We had a wonderful master of ceremonies, Steve Shore, who everyone has known and loved for many years here. Yeah, we had everybody big, congressional, legislative, federal. I mean, you have all the officials from bureaucrats down to the elected officials. I think somewhere we fit in that spectrum. And it was a big crowd for a sunny day, and you know, it's going to be years in the making.
Yeah, it's going to go on for about 4 years, Councilman, is that correct? At least about 2020?
Probably, but you know what? It was going to take 10 years before, thank goodness, the public approved the indexing of motor fuels, so that altogether, amongst the local sources of money, federal and state sources, we have the money to complete it faster.
Well, it was a big draw on social media. This is some of what we saw people posting. In fact, the city, we posted this on Facebook. NDOT Project Neon is going to make getting through the Spaghetti Bowl and downtown a little harder. We're here to help. You can tell us your normal route that's being affected, and the Nevada Department of Transportation will give you an alternate route. So that's a pretty good deal that people can take advantage of, Councilman. It's like, this is the normal way I go, and boy, it's going to be a mess. What can I do to go around it?
Well, and there's an application that we're starting to talk about. I'm not sure we're ready to talk about it today. Waze, W-A-Z-E, I think.
Up and running,
But when people get familiar with that, that'll apply all over town, frankly. So that you can avoid cone zones and you can avoid other things. It's going to become very popular. I've downloaded it myself.
I have too.
But that sort of thing is ways we're going to improve public access.
Spelled W-A-Z-E.
Yeah. We're, I think maybe next program or somebody else's program, we ought to have that on. And
in fact, Councilwoman Tarkanian last week talked about Waze. We had Tina Quigley on the program, and she talked about how that app's going to help you get around the
Well, if we repeat it, it's good. I just know people sometimes get impatient if you read the Road Warrior and the Review Journal, you know how people are frustrated about it.
Yep.
But they've got to be patient. I mean, we've got a big crowd. We've got 2 million people living where 50,000 used to live when I was a kid. And they all have to go somewhere. So roads are the way, but you got to keep them repaired.
Right. Well, a lot of people are heading downtown. There's a lot of cool things downtown. And I know you were very excited. Back on April 15th, the new donut bar opened in downtown, a nice new business. Now, this isn't just your average donut. This is these are some fine gourmet kind of donuts that they have set up there now. And you had the groundbreaking that day, or the ribbon cutting, I guess.
We had a ribbon cutting. We had a ribbon cutting, very special day, yeah. The owner of the name, the franchise, lives in San Diego. His name is Santiago. That's him standing next to me. And the Thomas brothers run the show. Yes, there was icing on the ribbon, and I love the donuts that I picked up that day.
Yes, I can tell that you are
all
a
of
fan.
this was fun. You know, that's John, I think, John Thomas.
Well,
or Joe, I'm sorry, I think it's Joe.
Well,
the point is, it doesn't matter. The point is, their donuts are great.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And they'll make specialty donuts for you, too.
Sure.
They made some really big ones for a 101st birthday for one of our constituents.
Wow.
And she was floored by it.
Yeah.
She could almost put it over her head. It was so big.
Where is it located, Council? Where is the donut
Right
bar?
on 6th and Carson.
6th and Carson, okay.
And it's in that kind of a lucky location. I think there's some great restaurants in there, and it's very easily accessible. So people are lining up, and they make a lot of dough, and then they sell what they make, and then they close. Yeah. Now they're going to try to expand their capacity. But right now, you're not going to get anything stale there because they make it, they keep it fresh until it is baked. And these are, by the way, these are like cakes. These donuts are not just greasy balls of fat. You know, they're not. They are really nutritious. Yeah, the sugar is kind of nutritious.
Right,
but,
sure.
But I can't explain how they make it, but it feels a little like bread, like nutritious. Anyway, it's incomparable.
Well, I know you're a fan of this place because you retweeted a tweet that the city put up there. It says, "Welcome Donut Bar to downtown." And then also on the heels of that, there was this tweet that you put out. Even the blue ribbon has a vanilla glaze.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw you.
Yeah, I kind of made a fool of myself licking that thing. But you know what? That's what councilmen are for.
That's right.
Somebody has to act idiotic.
But that explains what you were doing there. You weren't just wiping your face.
I'm a demonstrable person. I think there's a good way to show and tell.
Okay, very good. And I know, really, a Las Vegas mainstay for many years. People who've been here for a while certainly know the name Bob Stupak. He was a pioneer in the gaming industry, owned the Vegas World Hotel, which then became the Stratosphere. And you had a special tribute to him. This took place back on April 6th. Where we changed his street name in his honor.
Bob Stupak was one of those characters that people write books about. In fact, in most books about modern Las Vegas, he is mentioned. He's worth a chapter because Stupak was a gambler's gambler.
He was.
And a hustler's hustler and a promoter's promoter. He knew how to build things out of nothing. He knew he could spin a tale and get you to contribute money to it. He could spin a tale and get you to come into his casino and lose money there. He knew how to captivate local people, and there were hundreds of people that showed up at this tribute. And I think if it was more broadly broadcast, there might have been thousands. And Stupak, he really deserved this kind of a response. So here's a little street, Baltimore, next to the hotel. With the hotel's support, and with Nevada Stupak pushing all the right buttons, and bugging the heck out of us, we got to name that street for him, Stupak.
There's Bob
Avenue.
Right there, on top of the Stratosphere.
Bob would say anything and do anything. He ran for mayor. I mean, he did all sorts of things. It was all in the name of promoting his business, though. In other words, everything was done with the idea that I'm a successful businessman, and you're going to know me any way I can get publicity. But he would gamble. He could gamble $1 million bucks. Or he could gamble $1. It didn't matter.
I remember he did that at the Super Bowl one year. It was the Super Bowl, the Bengals versus the 49ers, and he wagered $1 million on that game and won because the Bengals, although they lost, the Niners couldn't cover the spread, and he won the bet.
And his detractors would probably say he fixed the game.
That makes me break into a cold sweat thinking about gambling that kind of money.
He was so popular. And so centered in society here that people really, they expected the best and the worst. And Nevada really has inherited, I think, the best of Bob Stupak, and the fact that he and his siblings, they've continued his legacy.
And we saw in Nevada, he was one of the speakers there.
Oh yeah, he's the well-dressed guy.
Yeah, right.
I'm just the short, dumpy guy in my suit, and he's the guy that looks like he was born in one. But really, now people will recognize the Bob Stupak Avenue when they drive by the Stratosphere.
Right.
But I'm still tempted to call it the Stupak Tower. Without Bob, without his gambling, and frankly, risking and wrecking his entire fortune, that tower would not be here. He gambled it all.
People thought he was crazy, and here it is. Now it's one of the icons of our skyline. So.
Yes, and he did not die a rich man.
No.
That's unfortunate because of the fact that he risked it all his life. And that investment in the Stratosphere, though, gave us the icon of Las Vegas.
We certainly honored him here at the city. Here, the city posted on social media, we tweeted this, honoring the late Bob Stupak with the street next to the hotel he helped to create. And, Councilman, we should say that that was a short little run there of Baltimore, right?
Yes.
So it didn't affect any other businesses,
No,
not going to create a lot of hassle.
But everybody that had a business gave permission.
Yeah.
So, and that's the rule, to make a name change.
Exactly.
But we had ex-mayors there, current mayors, obviously, you saw Carolyn Goodman.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of people who were serving in office at the time. And in fact, I love Ron Lurie, who was a mayor, because when I was a kid and he was a kid, he was a box boy just down the street at Marketown, the supermarket, when they had box boys. So it was a reunion of sorts for a lot of folks.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. People thought that whole Stratosphere was a pie-in-the-sky idea, never going to happen. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. And that was just really a testament to Stupak's vision. He could see things that the rest of us couldn't and then make it happen. So
yes, he had some crazy ideas like the Titanic, which never happened, and we stopped that because it was unrealistic in the sense of impinging on the neighborhood. But the Stratosphere didn't bother anybody. And I know that it caught fire. Only Stupak's tower could catch fire in mid-construction.
Right, I remember that. It
almost went up like a Roman candle, but
did.
it definitely, they continued.
Yeah, and there it is all these years later. So, well, very good. Council, I want to mention, too, the Senior of the Quarter came from Ward 3 this last time around. This was on April 20th at the council meeting there, and you had a special honoree that day.
Janet O'Donnell, one of our longtime residents, who lives in the area called Marycrest. It's not far from the old Bishop Gorman High School. There's Carmen Bates, the chairman of our Senior Citizen Advisory Committee. And she picked Janet because, a very popular choice, by the way, because of her volunteer work in the area for her church and for the neighborhood. And, you know, St. Anne's is one of the oldest Catholic churches in town, and so I know in my youth that was one of 3 or 4 churches is all there were, and so it was a central place, and people like Janet grew up in the area, and she spends a lot of time helping in the bereavement process for people. After a funeral, some people just don't know what to do.
Right. Remember you said that,
Between the day of the death and the day of the funeral, there's a period of time where you need assistance, and I think every church does its very best to help people in this grieving process, but it takes a special kind of volunteer. So our Senior of the Quarter, Janet O'Donnell, really fit the bill.
Right. You're seeing people when they're at their lowest as opposed to when they're celebrating.
Combination of shock and surprise and despair and all the things, even if a death is expected.
Right. Always the case.
But even then, any death hits you at a time you don't expect.
Right. Exactly, Councilman. Well, congratulations to her.
She was a good choice.
Yeah, wonderful choice all the way around. And then also recognizing someone else here in the community, Councilman, March 26th was the anniversary of the Cesar Chavez walk, right? That was Cesar Chavez Day, at least it was celebrated here.
50 years ago in the month of March, Cesar Chavez led a group of people on a 300-mile march from the mid-California town of Delano in essentially the agricultural area. There were grapes and lettuce picked there, and a lot of things were done, and the farm workers were not well paid, and they were not well organized, and the owners, frankly, of the properties tried to keep them from organizing. So there was a lot of trouble, a lot of beatings, a lot of fights going on. And, you know, Cesar, a lot of people don't realize, Cesar was born in the United States of America. He was a native of Yuma, Arizona.
Right.
And he fought for workers' rights, and he fought for the immigrants who were being brought up and underpaid. But by Mexican standards, of course, it sounded like a lot of money, but really It was poverty wages, and people lived in literally company towns under the control and in dormitories run by the owners, so it wasn't a good thing. So they walked 300 miles to the state capitol at Sacramento to protest, to really bring this to light, and that brought national attention on the workers. It was a grape time of boycotting grapes at that time, table grapes anyway, made from Central California.
1966,
but the more important point was that it was a recognition of workers. So he's considered a great labor leader, a great representative of the Latino community. And that's why a couple of years ago we named Pecos for Cesar Chavez. And it's worthy. He's considered the icon of the Chicano movement here in the United States.
The celebration here's what took place back March 26th. Big turnout that day.
Oh, yes. And in fact, there was a recreation of that 300-mile march. A group of several hundred people, including some of our elected officials from the legislature and from local government, came and walked with the young students. And even family members, Cesar Chavez's family members came up. Mimi Quintero lives here. She marched. And so they made what you would call a pilgrimage of going 100 yards and then walking to another location, stopping and getting an educational demonstration from somebody, students, who were shouting out the accolades of what happened that day and what happened the day during the march and what happened in the life. So this went around to 5 different stations, ending up back at the podium. So it was a moving experience.
Now, Councilman, you tweeted on social media, you sent out a tweet that said, we are proud of our legislative family in his tribute to this great man, Cesar Chavez. So did the legislature designate today or that day as...
No, I don't think so. Okay. I think that day will come. But I think, more importantly, the birthday of Cesar Chavez is one we also recognize. But we had Senator Segerblum, we had Senator Dennis, we had some assembly members who were there, Ruben Kiwinano and others, who really definitely had something to contribute. So this was a non-political, very moving day, and bringing the old and the young together.
All right.
Now, that's a big thing in the Latino community, which is, of course, I got to say, about the east side of Las Vegas. Many people who have lived here, even a long time, don't realize that the east side of town now is about 60% Latino. And consequently, we have to pay special attention to programs, and anything we do, we try to do bilingually. These are the people that built this town, imported here, lured here by high wages, and they stayed here, many of them. And consequently, we pay homage to people who have built our town, and they seem to have settled on the east side.
Yep. Council, I want to say also April 27th, Arbor Day, always a great celebration. It's a tradition to plant trees on that day, needless to say, and took place in Ward 3. Now, you were out at a school that day, right?
We were at Sunrise Acres
Sunrise Acres School. I couldn't recall.
Hadland Park also borders right up against the school.
Right.
So right at the boundary, a monument has been placed. It was a great day, a little cloudy, but we survived it before rain hit. We had Cayenne from the State Lands Department, the Department of Forestry. We had folks like Principal Margarita Gamboa there talking to the crowd. Behind her is Parks Commissioner David Lopez, and here are students who sang beautiful songs. I am so sorry that the guitar player is a teacher at Sunrise Acre, and I can't think of his name. There's Jerry Walker from our own staff, but that tree, a thornless honey mesquite, was planted, and it'll grow big. And you know, people learned that day that even mesquite trees yielded fruit in their blossoms and in their seeds that is edible, and you can make bread out of those things. And so naturally, people will learn from any tree that's planted that there's life-giving properties to all trees, in addition to the shade, which we all appreciate here.
And those are such great things, too, because in years to come, those kids can go back to that school, and that tree is going to be a big tree, and they're going to say, you know what, I helped plant that thing back in the day.
And we'll have planted more trees in that park, too.
Right, exactly.
We can't stop planting trees.
Well, Well, we want to let people know you have some great things coming up. Councilman, we're going to have another movie in the park. You had one here back on April 23rd, the movie Inside Out. I know, it's a good film, even though it's, supposedly for kids. It's got a good message for everybody.
It has two lessons, This movie, we had a good crowd, and we had a lot more people than normal coming from around the town. It started about 20 minutes after I spoke, and so there were a lot more people there when it got dark. But this is a movie about the brain, and what goes on in the brains of a young person and how they react. And it's educational because everybody has an emotion from sadness to anger to happiness. And in such a way that a kid could understand, and adults got a real belly laugh out of this. I know I was chuckling a lot in this movie, and I had not seen it in the theater. So it was educational, funny, very, very colorful.
Yeah, it's Pixar. It's a Pixar film,
Typical
right?
Pixar, but they do the very best there is. And so by the end of the movie, nobody had left. I mean, that's how good it was. Yeah. People were still coming to join. It was popular in theater. I did not see it there. It's not something that would attract me, but I sure wish I had seen it.
Yeah, it's always one of those pleasant surprises. That was a really good movie.
And it was windy that day, but we will do anything. The show must go on. So we showed that movie on the side of a white truck.
That's why I saw the
the company
there,
truck.
Right.
Well, the movie looks great no matter what you show it on.
Right, exactly.
And so I recommend it to people. Stream it on down or get the DVD of Inside Out.
Well, if you missed Inside Out, no worries, because we're going to have another movie in the park coming up May 20th. This is going to be at the Stewart Place Park. That's over on Chantilly. It's going to be The Good Dinosaur.
Stewart Place is really close to the eastern boundary of our city. And this is a movie, I'm sorry I cannot preview for you because I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen this one either.
But I'm going to enjoy it because I do enjoy Disney Pixar stuff. Stewart Place Park is right there near Marion and Charleston and Nellis on the far southeast corner of our city limits. And The Good Dinosaur, it's in a nice little park, a small park. So it's cozy, and all the neighbors can walk there. They don't have to drive.
Well, hopefully get some good weather for that.
Well, I hope so. We're going to make a little change, as you notice, if you see 2 movies before summer starts. We're moving a little bit away from summer movies because we've had several canceled, either due to heat, excessive heat, or monsoon rainstorms, which just make it impossible. Right. So rather than get our hearts set on a date set certain in the midsummer, we're going to try to put them on before and after.
May is beautiful, yeah.
We'll find a way to do something inside, though, during the summer months. We just haven't figured out what to do.
Okay.
But we'll do it.
So The Good Dinosaur, May 20th at Stewart Place Park over on Chantilly.
I didn't know there were any bad dinosaurs.
I didn't either. So I guess we're going to find out.
That was before there was judgment.
Right. And then, Councilman, a couple other events. Safe Summer Nights, May 19th, May 26th. I want to tell everybody this is coming up. These are, of course, free, open to the public. Great way to be occupied, have fun, but also, as the name would indicate, but to be safe, in a safe environment.
We're going to have those at 6 different locations throughout the city. So this isn't just Ward 3.
Exactly. That's right. That's exactly right.
And
going across the Ward 3 locations are there, but again, it'll be across the city of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
On our website.
Right, and it's in combination with police, community health, and resources. So it's really something for everybody to go to because you'll always find a service that you need.
Right.
Whether it's health or whether it's perhaps finding a relative who needs care or an elderly person.
Right.
You're going to find a desk, and somebody's going to be there and have an answer to a question you have. So I think that these are the kinds of things you can do indoors and outdoors, but I kind of think we'll probably be indoors with some of them.
Okay.
But anyway, Safe Summer Nights is a tradition. We've continued. We didn't start it that many years ago, but we're not going to drop it now.
Okay. May 19 and May 26 coming up on that in Ward 3, those locations you saw. And then last but not least, Councilman, got to mention this, Las Vegas's birthday coming up here. The Eldorado Parade is part of that tradition. And there it is. It's going to be Saturday, May 14th. It's time in the morning. We've done some in the evening. This is going to be in the morning, 10 o'clock.
And the parade, of course, is the centerpiece of it all. The rodeo, which will be in a different location this year. We'll be down along towards the end of the Strip, actually.
Exactly.
And it's going to be called Las Vegas El Dorado Days within the Las Vegas Village, even though it's in the county.
Right. It's we're going to be at the South Point, basically.
And we are combining with the Professional Bull Riders Association. So this is really a big
It's a first,
deal.
yeah.
This is an elevation of El Dorado. Well, we realize, you know, inside the city limits, we lack a good venue for rodeo. You need a flat, open space, and every time we get a flat, open space and we get used to it, we build something on it.
That's a good problem.
Well, David, we have to find one, and we have to settle on it. So in the next 2 or 3 years, while we go to this location, which I think will be popular, we'll be looking to see what we can build back inside the city limits where El Dorado has traditionally always been shown.
Right. Exactly, exactly. And El Dorado marks the founding of the city. I know there's some people who want to distinguish between the founding of the city, 1905, and the incorporation of the city in 1911, but every big city does that. You know, Boston was founded in 1630, but they didn't incorporate till 1820 something. So
you pick your dates and you live with them.
Exactly.
And you have your fun, and some people just have fun all along. You know, some people still, you know, grow their beards. Some people still play. Play cowboy, and the casinos, they dress up. So people go into cowboy stuff just like they do during the NFR in December.
Right, it's a great tradition. It's gone on in Las Vegas for over 70 years.
We can't let it die. It was suspended for a little while, but we vowed to try to keep it going. But the Centennial Commission of the city provided a good deal of money for this. That's money from license plate revenues.
Right, from the Las Vegas Centennial plate.
Yes,
right.
Yes, and so when you buy a Las Vegas plate, you are helping keep El Dorado Days alive.
And you know, those plates are still selling very well. People are still getting those.
Yes, they are.
Of the different plates Nevada offers, that's one of the most popular, if not the most popular.
Very proud of that license plate.
Yeah, it's got the Welcome to Las Vegas sign
We
on
never thought it would last this long in popularity, but people keep them on. They keep paying.
11 years later, here we are.
Oh, boy, I tell you what we've done with that money.
Yeah,
and truly keeping historical things alive. That's the whole point.
That's the main point.
That's what the money has to be used for.
Right. And of course, we partner with the Elks on El Dorado, the rodeo, and
bless the Elks.
Right?
Yeah, it's been hard for them because it's not easy for fraternal organizations to do these things. These are large-scale events.
Oh yeah.
Fraternal organizations are having a hard time because they aren't growing fast enough, and many times their members are aging out, and they've got to recruit younger members. So they have to partner with local governments and/or other organizations to make things happen.
Exactly.
But those people in the Elks Club are determined to keep El Dorado alive. Yeah. And it was grudgingly moved out of the original area, you know, for a while. But we will always have a partnership.
It'll be fun. It's going to be a great event.
I hope so.
All right. Well, Councilman, we're just about out of time. We want to tell everybody out there, you know, we always want to hear from you. So if you have something you want to share with Councilman Coffin, maybe be part of our next social media segment, you can find him on Facebook and Twitter. And you can also contact him the old-fashioned way at 702-229-4623 or send him an email. His address is lvcouncilman@hotmail.com. That's his personal account, so if you send it there, he will see it.
I'm still amazed that most people don't use that because if our City Hall offices, in order to save money, are only open 4 days out of 7,
right?
But I've got that email going every day. And if a person has a complaint or wants to notice something or let us know about something,
hear from you,
short of an emergency, send me an email at lvcouncilman@hotmail.com. That, I can guarantee you, will be sent to someone who has the ability to solve the problem, or get an answer. Right. Maybe a few days, but we'll get it done.
All right. Well, great job, Councilman. We'll see you back here in 6 more weeks.
Thanks, David.
And we want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Access City Council. Don't miss our next show beginning on May 12th with Ward 4 Councilman Stavros Anthony. And don't forget you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. We'll see you next time right here on KCLV, where we bring city government closer to you. Thanks for watching, everyone.